Well, I'm continuing the assembly. I had mocked the steering up once before, and I got it approximately where it goes. It was hitting the header a little bit, probably still is, but I hadn't really mounted the dash in real good, but it's in now, and it's bolted down real solid, and I figured out the right angle and stuff. This took me all day. I probably worked on it a couple days before, but it's all in. The dash is bolted in real good. Everything is bolted real nice and tight. It did change what I thought was the geometry here a little, but that assembles is real loose right now. I mean, it's all tight, but there's nothing binding. Fits real good. And I opened up that hole where that heim joint thing goes, and it's all bolted down. So basically this firewall is finished. I've got everything in here, I think, that I need, so I can move on to finishing up this radiator and mounting the hood. I had an old white wheel, and I'd got paint on it, but this is vinyl paint for upholstery. It's pretty dry. Let me stick it in. We'll see what it looks like. Well, there's the wheel. The black still got quite a bit of dirt on it, but it don't look bad. This is what color the seats will be painted, but I kind of like it. It sort of matches the burgundy car, maroon, and I might just paint this black rubber here the same thing, but that's good enough. I'll have to work on that later to get the horn working, but the switch is good. I'll figure out some way of getting a ring inside that Figaro column. I don't know, that's a long ways down the road. Worrying about a horn, but matches the color of the car real well, and sort of starts tying it together. Next, I guess I'll put all my gauges and headlight switch and clean up all that wiring under the dash. And the next major project I got to do is I got to pull this piece of the floorboard out, and got a good piece of wood here. Cut up a good one, put it in it. Got a little bit of stuff to mount to the firewall, and I need to put a brace across the bottom of it, I think. I was thinking of making a bracket and bolting it to the floorboard. Still haven't figured out exactly how I'll do that, but it's kind of a good look today. Steering wheel's in, steers real good. You can see here all the joints are moving. I'm not moving that hardly at all. I got a little bit of play in it, but that's right up here in top, I'm pretty sure. A little bit of play is not bad. So press on with tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this. We'll get to have a ride in it here pretty soon. Well, there's the dash went in good. My instrument cluster went in there. I still need to do something about that bottom one, but I've got everything turned on. All my wires are still working. My gas gauge works. Panel lights work. I'm sure everything over there works. Chipped the dash right there, knocking in the gauge, but I can put a little red paint on that. I've got a couple wires that I need to sort out here for the flashers and stuff, but basically it's together and workable. Now I can go to the front and back and sort these wires and everything out. I've got all the tail lights and everything to put in here and make this wiring harness. I think that's probably what I'll do now. I got my windows working and rolled down and cleaned. It's kind of hard to go around the door every time you want to get in the car. And I've got some throttle cables and stuff in there I need to hook up. I checked my starter, it works. So it looks like basically I think if I hook up my gas pedal, I can be able to pull this thing out. I may do that. I may just get this thing to where it'll move right under its own power. And well, I got a flat I got to fix here. I don't know what happened. I did a little burnout. I might have put a nail in it or unseated it. Anyway, I don't like that lower gauge holder there, but I don't see anywhere I can put that gauge. I thought it was kind of cool, but I can't really get a bolt in it. I have to take this gauge out in order to get a bolt in there, and then it's real floppy. This back of this instrument cluster goes all the way down into the bottom here. I just barely got enough room to get a nut in there, so I have to put that in first and then the gauge, which makes it kind of difficult. And it isn't until I get way over here that I have a place where I can cut a hole. And I can't put anything up in there because there's a big bar across there, and I can't put it between the fuel gauge and the gauge cluster either, because there's a bunch of bolts in there. So that was kind of where I could put it. I don't like it there. I guess I could put on the side of the window or up on top. I hate to knock that cluster out of there, but maybe that's what I ought to do, is just take the cluster out and bolt it in where it's at, and save myself some time. But the cluster's in real tight, so I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to take it out. We'll see. Maybe I'll work on that. But I like the wheel. The wheel worked out real good. Well, I was just trying to move on, and I knew that that passenger exhaust pipe was at a pretty sharp angle, and it was too close to the rear end. So I took this all out of here and got it straight, and I put it all together with old muffler seal stuff, and it's all bolted down tight again. This muffler here, I just need to twist it up, and I think that's what's causing the angle here. But this one's even more critical for having rear axle clearance. I'll probably have to work on it some more, but I was just making sure that this tailpiece would still go on and everything fit, so it does. Well, I guess the next thing would be to loosen up this muffler here, get it level. That'll twist it up quite a bit, and if I have to, just loosen it up, bang it around and re-clamp it. I gotta clamp it on the front too, and I gotta get 1, 2, here on the, probably 2 more back there in the back on these torsion bars. I think the bottom bolts are good. Got that to do, and I got to change the oil in the rear end. So anyway, I just pulled the floorboards out, and I'll get this all sorted out, and I'll probably make me some kind of a rear floorboard, so I can mount the seats and stuff to it. That's not particularly critical, and I can keep this one here because it does work for now. Just put a couple screws in it to hold it down, so I can drive it and make sure everything's all working good. I don't want to have to make a new floorboard and cut it all up and put it all down, and then have to take it apart, fix something. So anyway, I knew I needed to do this, just needed to do it. I gotta go get some bolts, that's a problem. Not really a problem, you know. Hour, I'll find everything I need. I got a couple in the front end I need too, but I can sure fix up this suspension. It's all real loose, just finger tight, so it'd be easy to put that in, bolt it up, and I put a floor on the back of this, and I'll be able to drive it no problem. Well, this is all done. I put in some good grade 8 bolts, got the right spacers and everything to get this 4-link sorted out. I didn't really have any 1/2-inch bolts, I just had a mess, but I wasn't going to be driving it or anything, so they were just in there to mock up. But I went down to the hardware store and got some good grade 8 bolts, and this is all in and bolted up. I cleaned up and painted this side a little, This side was good. I probably could use a little more. I'll blow it off and squirt it. I just did this one side, but everything's in and bolted down real tight, and I checked my pinion angle is still good. So here's the back as a completed deal. I can put the rear floorboard in now, or whatever I want. I could have always got under here and tightened it, except for these bolts up here. There's no way you can get to those with from the bottom. You have to take that floorboard out. But if I do, I do. It's all bolted in and tight. So this brings me to another step. We don't have much left now. I still need to change the oil. I don't know how to get the oil out of this thing. Maybe I'll do that right now. I'll see if I can pull a stud out of the bottom, drain the oil. And that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and try to drain it where I can get to it here from the top and not have to crawl under it and do it. We'll see what happens with that. Well, I got to working on the back here, and I got my little valence in. Got a bolt in it. Don't look too bad. It's a little floppy, but it's alright. And I was able to get my backup lights in that mount I made, and they're all tightened up. And I got continuity to ground. This thing here's got continuity to ground. You know, in a way it kind of looks stupid, you know, that big old thing, and everything on here is kind of small. Now all I got to do is drill 3 holes here for the tail lights in the metal. I don't know if I need 3, but I need 2. And I'm not sure how I'm going to go about marking or drilling them. Well, drilling them, yeah, but marking them, I don't know. But all this part will be done then, and I can do the final cutting and taping and wrapping of all the wires here, make up this finished harness. So we'll see what happens. Well, here's the result of today's work. It turned out these taillights, a little chrome piece, you could take it off and I could get to the holes. So I was able to just go through the light itself and drill my pilot holes. I got my little turn signals mounted. I painted those that AMX blue or AMC blue. I don't really like that. I ought to just paint those the royal blue, the rest of it. Doesn't really match anything there. So I'll repaint those, but I got my little fine thread bolts. I got my big old license plate there. Light. I got my everything in. I checked my my wires. I didn't think they would go bad on me, and they didn't. You know, I got Nice bright tail lights and brake lights. I've got everything all grounded, so they'll all work when they're hooked up. Now I just have to finalize this wiring harness and wire it up and mount it, and this part will be done. Well, there it is all together. I don't have a little chrome trim on my tail lights, but everything's mounted real good. I just have to get some bolts for the tail lights. I got my little trunk latch in. It's closing and holding good still. So basically this tail piece is done. I'm gonna paint these things the same color as the body. I got a little blue left, so I'll just take those off and paint them blue. They just don't match back here, even though they match the motor. There's nothing back here for it to pick up. And I got some little decals here. Give it a little bit of a pinstripe look. Starting to look pretty good. Other side looks all right. Just give it a little touch of glass there. Well, I got the electrical all working in the back, so I need to fix all this up here in front. And I got this piece of mesh from Speedway, and I measured it was good, but I didn't realize that it was going to be too small at the bottom. Anyway, I got like 3/8 of an inch there on the bottom. It don't cover, but I just taped it on here, and I'm just cutting it with a pair of dikes, and I'm just going to glue this into the, flip it over and glue it into the shell with JB weld, and that's all I'm going to do with it. Well, I got the screen all cut out. What I did was use my long sockets and stuff. This is the only one that really fit, but they kind of fit that round curve there in the shell, and I just put some shiny paper in it, and you can see there it not only clamped the aluminum into the curve, but it also left me a real nice shiny place where the glue was. Let me see if I can get this one out. Yeah, that one come out pretty good. This was some paper that came on decals. Yeah, you can see how nice that is there. So I got it about 4 or 5 inches up here. I got it 2 places here on the top. I've got both back corners, or bottom corners there. And I've got about, well, you can see where the socket's clamped there in the middle. 3 or 4 inches there. So this is as done as I'm gonna get it, I think. You know, now that I'm putting the car together and cleaning up around, I'm gonna find a lot of my tools. I've still got this, you know, this is kind of floppy right here in the middle, but it's tight all the way in the corners. So maybe I ought to put a single brace across there. Not sure, but at least I've got the screen in, and that's the important part. Well, after basically a day of fighting with this, I've got it back on, got it where it's supposed to go. This grill screen turned out real nice. It's a little floppy right in the bottom, but that's not a big deal. And got the grill shell back on. You put one little scratch at it, clamping it. Got the hood on, it fits right. Everything looks good. So now I can finish bolting this grill shell down, splash panels, bolt the hood on good. You know, that air cleaner, I painted the top. You can't even see that top. That was kind of a waste of time. But it's starting to come together. Now all I gotta do is find my curved bar for my lights that I built. And I could finalize this front wiring harness. I still don't like those turn signals, but it is what it is. Well, there's the grill shell mounted. I've just got 2 bolts in the bottom of it, but it's really solid. The time I put the 2 bolts on the top of the hood and the 4 or 5 in the back, it'll be solid as a rock. The radiator is a little crooked in it right now, but I gotta cut a piece of rubber and put there in the bottom mount. I should have done that before I did it, but I can raise the radiator up, and well, here was a dance that was no fun. I got my 8 bolts here in the back of the hood, and they're all bolted into the cowl. These bolts here, I got them through. I had to re-drill that one. It was hitting the radiator. And, had to move the hole up a little. You can see there I got about half an inch or so before it hits the red, and this other one's like right on the red. But anyway, this radiator shell is in now, good and strong, bolted down with 7/16 bolts on top. I've got the radiator in and centered, and I've got some rubber stuff in there to keep it from bouncing around. I got the bottom done. So a lot of bolts in that front thing, but it's all right because all of this is kind of mounting the body to the frame. I found my brackets here, my body mounts. They were underneath the motor there. Put them there so I wouldn't lose them. And this is all pretty straight. I gotta buy 2 1/2-inch bolts for this passenger fender, and I've lost my curved bar that goes across there. The grill shell, the screen looks pretty good. You can see right down in the bottom it's missing it, but you really can't see it. Once the radiator's straight, it's all aluminum behind it. So this whole front end now is basically ready for me to tear the shop apart and find my bar. I'm not particularly worried about that right now. With the steering and everything all done, I didn't mess with my wiring. I pulled my plug wires off to put the valve covers on, but I should be able to prop a seat up in there and drive it forward. Whether I will or not, I don't know. I decided I would go ahead and put everything all together. This floorboard is, I spent a lot of work making it, and I've got the other one measured for my good board. It's going to come back about 1.5 foot into that brown board. So I'm not really going to mess with this a whole lot. I'm just going to finish wiring up everything and tighten it all up. The floorboard's got nothing to do with the wiring. And then I'll probably pull it out there and make sure everything's all going to steer proper and everything else. And if that all works up, I'll clean up the shop. I've got a ton of dirt under this car. I need to get it all out. And this back's all finished. And I got one more rubber glue on the sideboard. Got to put my inside of my doors in and finish up my door handles. Still got quite a bit of work, but this basically is the last of the sheet metal that I have to bolt on it. And now I just have to put a couple little bolts in that radiator to hold it in place and mount my transmission cooler, and I'll be done down there. So then I'll go ahead and move on to whatever I'm going to try to do with this floorboard and seats. I'm going to at least just put one seat in it, set in it. Steering and everything is really good and tight. So we're getting closer to a running project. These bolts sure look like overkill, but overkill it is.